Hey guys, 2020 on Nissan Patrol Y62 today. If you've got one of these, you know the factory unit is fairly old. The maps are out of date, they're pulled from an SD card. It does have some other apps on it. The sound system's good though. Factory amp has like a Bose like sound system, so we want to keep all that working, which our head unit like will. Can't even load the app screens, that's cool. Some climate data comes through on here, which comes out down here anyway. You've got a little bit of tyre pressure, but these aren't on this sort of model. That'll come through the hours anyway. Maintenance, so no one actually uses that anyway. Yeah, that's about it. You can like Bluetooth to it, but the yellow unit's pretty old. We do have obviously a reverse camera with 360 camera and your like parking sensors coming up. Our unit will keep that exact same thing happening. And you do have, the only thing on like, so like our unit is this button here. You can see that switches through the cameras will be on screen on our unit, so you won't have that type button. Climate controls will still stay the same, like so these ones down here. You won't have your CD player, hazard will stay the same. What else do we have going on here? Steering wheel controls, we'll keep those working. That's about everything. So yeah, we've got to use the big screen on like this one because it has that built-in amplifier, and that's the one we've like worked out. It works well. Right, so at the gear knob here now, if you pull that down, there's a little circlip on here. Just get your fingers, flick it back. This knob comes off. Put that back on how you took it off. That way you won't forget it. Very easy to do. Just throw that back on, put it somewhere safe, and then basically this whole trim bit's going to come up. So it's got a couple of remotes here that we're going to take off. One's a bit stuck down, we'll probably leave that there. Now we'll need to most likely get the trim tool to get this started. Oh no, I just pulled it with my hands, and each cup holder on the front, and you'll see this whole thing comes off. And if you just sort of wedge it around, and then up under here there's one plug that will make it a little bit tighter for you. Does that. And this one actually isn't too bad. You might not even have to take off any. We can spin that around okay. Yeah, you can take it off if you don't want to, but that could be enough room there for now. So that is that. I popped off. I actually pulled out a plug down here out of here just to get it out of the way. You could actually take them all off and it'll be completely the other way. Next trim bit to come off is this piece here, these two side pieces. Now, if you're lucky, you can sort of get your hand in here and pull them out towards you, like towards the driver's seat. And then you sort of just lever it out. I'll show you this when it comes out because you will see why you kind of have to fiddle with it a bit once you sort of see what it is. Position. So hopefully you can see now on camera that little hook bit. So that was in, so you kind of got to tilt it back and I'll pull it out. It all comes out pretty easy. There's like a little clip on the back. So like technique is I pull it to start it, I pull it all the way out, pop the back bit out, and then kind of sort of lever it up and then pull it out, and that'll remove that. And then we're just going to take the one off the other side too. Again, hand in there, back to the bottom, and then lever up here just like so. And then this one sort of comes up and back.
I just hate the wood grain on this.
Yeah, and then we pull that out. You'll see why it's a little bit challenging. It's because it has a little hook in here, and that comes out again. So that's that one. What we'll do is take these two Phillips screws out here, and then we'll be good. So these come out, 1 and 2, and then we can actually pull out this whole top little screen here. You'll see that'll pop out. So those two screws come out, and then this get away. So taking those two top ones out, then you got to take these two ones out too, and this AC panel will actually pull off first, and once the AC panel's off we should be okay. So take this out too. Alright, that's that and that out. Just give it a few like wiggles with your hand and it'll pop out. In the back here you've got 1, 2, and that's it, need to come off. Just push down ones with your finger. Oh, this one is a close one. If it's a real close one that you're struggling with, like I am this one, there we go. You can put actually trim tool, like just actually push it all back in and push it like trim tool in and then pull it out. You can almost kind of flick it out with the trim tool. But that's the front fascia of that. Obviously there's a CD player in the back. That there I believe we're keeping that, it's our camera box. And then we have our top screen here. And you go back on the screws job, you got a screw in here, pop that out. Don't get too worried about these screws because you're basically not going to be using any of them again. They're actually all the same length anyway, so have a quick look there. You can take out these even though they're for this bottom deck because this bottom deck's going to be coming out anyway. This one, and obviously you can see the bottom of these like brackets. There's actually some more screws down the bottom which we'll cover in a second. We should have. Now that's the old wiggle pull out sort of technique. Always works well with plastic because you just kind of it's like gonna give. Just got to be a bit gentle with it. and this top screen will just pull straight out, and then you've got 2 plugs in the back here. Let's pop out both of these. Again, just your push down clips on the top, and then there's a few more plugs halfway down, and these are all, again, just got a little push down thing in them. Oh, have a good tight plug. Again, if you struggle, get that trim tool. The technique's sort of like push down and a lever out. There you go, that's that and that out. So we'll go and take the little bottom bit out now. Now hopefully you can see back here, this here just pulls, unclips with your hands. This one feels quite tight, but I do notice it's got some extra plugs in there, so I don't know if they've like zip tied it up or like what. Sorry, hang on, let me move this camera up. If they've like zip tied this part up or whatever. It's not too critical, but what you want to do, if you can just sort of move it down a bit, you just want to be able to get 1, 2 other Phillips out, and then this whole unit's going to be able to pull out. So there's 2 Phillips under there, just like pop this out to get it a bit forward. Those 2 Phillips at the bottom there, they can be a little bit hard to get. I feel like a magnet screwdriver will stick on. Doesn't matter too much. If they drop down, you'll be able to get them. Now you'll see that this just needs to pop down under this clip, like so, under this clip, like so, and then this whole unit pulls out. And then we've got some plugs in the back here. There's actually a whole heap of plugs in the back. I was trying to put a towel down here just to protect the trim because these steel bits can scratch interior really easy. Let's put a towel down or something just because the edges of these bits end up being pretty sharp. Now you've got a whole lot of plugs in here, so just we'll pull them all out because they can only go back into where they fit, so you can't really go too wrong, and I'm sort of worrying about where they come from. Again, if it's a real stiff one, you can go back to the good old trim tool to try and push and wedge it out. Oh, that's a tough one. There's some easy ones, easier ones. I'll do a couple of these easier ones. I'll show you all these in a second. Here is a whole heap on these models because they have a little bit of stuff going on. It'll seem like a lot when you're unplugging them all, but hopefully I'll be able to explain each one to you and then it won't seem as bad. And also, like, some of them are just like piggybacking back to those original plugs we took out because this is the main unit, and there's obviously a top screen as well. Oh, that's a tough one, that last one. Sometimes these are such a pain to get out. If they are ever really hard, push them all the way back in and then try and pull them out, because so normally if they are hard, it's just because the clip has been half jammed down. Man, that one's so hard to get off. We're keeping this box anyway, so I'm just going to unscrew it and leave it plugged in. This is the picture of the camera decoder box, which we have to keep anyway, so I'm actually just going to leave that one and unscrew it. There we go. Nice. Alright, so I'll show you all those plugs I've taken out. There's a whole heap here, but I will first just undo this, because we're keeping this like box. Got a feeling that plug's always really hard to get out. Might be wrong, but I think it is. It would have eventually came out if you wanted to struggle with it for a bit. It's just got a couple torques either side and you can actually just pop it out. Alright, so that was the back of the unit. Those are all the plugs that came out. I'll just show you them now. So we had all of these are through to that front bit. This is where you gotta remember. It shouldn't matter too much because our plug's gonna sort of mosey up anyway, but those are to the front bit, and these are all the ones that came off this other plug. So there's a fair whack of them there, and you get a random. That doesn't even look. Don't know what that is, but that's been tapped into something. Might be, that's definitely, looking at that tape there, that's definitely like a DIY jobby. That could be, they've got a rear view screen here. I wonder if that's a trigger or something for reverse. But there's all the plugs out, so that's all good. So now what we'll actually do is we grab our adapter harness kit and we plug it in, and we just want to check that everything powers up and works. Just a little little video of actually what's in the kit here. So obviously going to get the other main unit of built in like fascia. So you've got your AC controls here. On the back here is the main other unit, main plug we call these, auxiliary plugs. Then you've got the Wi-Fi, 4G, HDMI output, FM and AM. Down here you've got to make sure you plug this in. You'll see this plug on our harness as well. It's just for the AC controls and your hazard button. So that is basically the screen. Then you get 3 cables in the kit. Yay. The only one will match up will be the one that sort of matches your factory plugs, and pretty much all the ones I've done have always been the same harness. So I'll tell you what that one's called. There's actually like labels on here. I'll like call that out to you so you can actually check. But there's 3 in there just in case you did have a variation of like the model. And then we've got our inputs. So here you're pretty much going to use like reverse camera input, and here's like a second input to put a second camera in, or you can like power a camera from here as well. But that's going to get your factory reverse camera coming into there. This is your like pre-outs, RCA pre-outs. And then we've added on an extra antenna cable. No, that's not for this model. I don't know. That shouldn't be in this kit. Not sure why that's in there. That's for Toyota, so don't worry about that. A SIM card, if you're going to use a SIM card, that's what you need. If you are using the SIM card. Here's the 4G antenna. We always put these in anyway, just in case you want to use it in the future. External microphone, the GPS to give the device its own navigation, the Wi-Fi antenna, OBD2 scan tool, trim removal tools, and factory USB retention cables to keep the factory USB happening. Small manual in here. We will help improve this in the future, but it's just sort of telling you like what goes where, giving you a quick little health diagram to go along with. So the actual power cord I tried before wasn't the correct one, I don't think. So this one is 2018 TU. The one I tried before was 2017. It's like 8-inch on it. It's hard to tell them apart because they look the same. So you might just need to try both. Or a good thing to spot is look for the harness that has 2 RCAs coming out of this like same plug. We will give this one a go now, and I think this is the right one. Again, not all models are going to be the same. You could have like a variation, and that's why we have all these harnesses. We just have to include them all in the kit because it will be a bit of a pain if you're waiting for your head unit and it turns up and then all of a sudden you don't have the correct one. You've got your dash half apart. That's why we have to put them all in. And so just go through them all, match up the ones you can match up. Again, they should click in nicely. If they don't, have a look, check that they actually match up okay. They're only going to fit the ones that fit. So I'll show you the ones in a second around the corner that are left over, and then you can have a bit of an idea what's not being used. Alright, so come in here. So this one's connected up, this one's connected up. On our harness, what we haven't used is like this one, and also on harness we haven't used. No, that's the only one. And then on the car side, you've got quite a few. You can see all the ones down there not being used. That's fine. A couple of them we might for the USB, but the rest of them aren't like needed. Then what we need to do is we need to come in here and we need to grab these. Now there's 2 coming out of this plug. You can't, can you tell? I don't think you can actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just seeing if you can tell. 1, 2, 3. I think it will be the one that's actually hooked to the plug that's on this side. So that, not end of the world, just try both of them. But that's going to go into the one on here. This one says camera. It's going to match up to the one on here that says camera, like that. Then we're going to lift up our big pin here, give us a bit of extra length, plug our main 20 pin one into here. Sorry, it's probably a bit hard to see. This little sort of white one's going to go down the bottom down there, and if you can get the FM AM antenna plug in too, that's handy. I'll come around the corner, I'll show you all these. Alright, that was a bit tight in here. So 20 pin plug, the yellow white one down the other bottom, the camera black one, and the FM round one on the far side. It's a bit hard to see, but in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to power the unit up. Once you've got it here, you can sit it back, it's a bit easier, like so. Turn the car on, hopefully something happens. We'll have a nosy. And we're checking radio, AC, steering wheel controls, sound, reverse cameras, 360 cameras of this model. What we'll be checking out that is working. Now power's a good start, so we can be happy to have that. And we'll go see what happens next. That's telling us our doors are open, so that's a good sign. We're hooked into the CAN bus. The AC is also going to auto, which I'd assume it means it's working. Yep, crank the fan up, it's like working. We can like go through all the settings like so actually later, like make sure it's all okay, but that seems to be all working all right. Radio, volume on here. Okay, so we have no sound at the moment and we have no steering wheel controls, but our AC seems to work. So we just sort of tick them off one by one, and I'm pretty sure the other no sound issue is just going to be I fix the reverse and tackle the reverse issue. I'll just check it'll be like a setting, I think, just to get that to work. Right, so steering wheel controls, you come into settings, system, wheel settings, scroll this to, you can scroll these two, but you want to be over in low here. I can clear them. Now what you want to do is you want to choose the button, so choose volume up. Now it tells you what to do here. Long press on the wheel. It'll go blue, volume down, long press, skip forward, hold that, skip back, hold that, foam. We've got a back and a mode and a source, so source we can put to that. Button's a bit sticky. And then we've got a back button which we could use for, I don't know, mute. So we don't have a full range of buttons here. Hopefully we actually might be able to improve this in the future, but we've learned those now. The main ones you want anyway, you've the volume up and down, you skip, so that's how it works. We are missing a mic and back, so we'll try and get that happening in the future, but that is all we have for now. Push save, go home. You can see now the other volume controls work. You can come into like radio, we were just in it, you could obviously hear it was like working. So we've got our radio working, so we've got steering wheel controls, a radio, sound. Now we got our AC, we checked it earlier. Now we just want to check the reverse camera. Once all of that is pretty much checked, that's all we want to see really, and then we can actually go and take it out and tidy things up a little bit. You kind of get your hands in here. So reverse camera, exact same as the old one. All good, back in the park. That's all done. We'll unplug this now, turn the car off, unplug it all, and what we'll do is we'll actually go through and tidy all the sort of wires up, swap some things over in the fascia, and then we can finish it off. Just take you through all the auxiliary plugs now. I've taped things up a little bit. Just tape the ones we're not like using, like a tape like these out of the way. If you're using a second camera, you might use one of these RCAs. Tape those two RCAs together, tape back so this plug we weren't using. That was one on our harness that didn't match up to anything, so that's all taped back. A little bit of tape around here, taping back up the other RCA we weren't using as well. So let's turn it for you. Then we're coming back, a little bit of tape around here. We've got to just check which one of these are the USBs. There's a few floating around here, so I'll check out that. I've taped back this one here. That's the factory DAB or something, not sure. That one we weren't using, these two on the car side, so you can tape those back out of the way if you want. Might just take those together back here, keep them out of the way. And then what else? That's about it really. So this little box here we're going to mount down the back there, and then we'll just cover our auxiliary plugs that we're going to put in, which are basically a couple USBs, GPS, SIM card, 4G antenna. There's not too many on this one. When you first get these, you're doing the install yourself, you will probably think, oh my god, so many wires, but you soon get the hang of it. We don't get too excited on the taping. I taped these two back as well, sorry. They were the ones that were in the AC control. Because if you tape them too much, then when you go to put the head unit in, they don't have kind of much the flexibility to move. So 4G antenna, let me just pull a bit out and then you can actually just tape this back out. This here just needs to probably, go up under here. You can see where this big Bose like speaker is in the middle. I can feel the magnets here. So actually either side there's a bit of spare space, so I'll probably end up tucking it up and under there. Just like your phone has reception if it's on the sort of footwell or whatever in the car, so that's still going to give us a decent reception in there, so that'll be fine. So I'm going to put that up in the back there and stick it down. It's just a frame type stick pad thing, so you know how to use one of those, no doubt. You just got to press it down for a few seconds and do that. It's labelled with a 4G antenna on here, so you can't go too wrong, because obviously they have SMA plugs at the end, and the problem with the SMA plug is they all look the same. Here's another one, so that's why they are labelled. GPS, that's obviously means the little unit has its own GPS. Again, you can put that just next to that 4G antenna. Isn't going to cause you any dramas. Don't obviously put it on top of it, but you can put it next to it and just stick it down like so. That's going to give you a clear view up here through the sky, far enough away from that speaker magnet that you should be all good, because you don't want a magnet near GPS. Now these, just remember, everything got to tuck down because the deck, our main deck slides in and down there. We'll end up taping those two together in a second. SIM card, I always just end up running this down into the trim here, so you can still get to it if you need to. But majority of our customers don't even actually use it, but you just want to be able to get to it without having to pull anything apart. So I run it under the other side bottom here and actually tuck it up, and I'll show you that at the end. But that is just so you can still get to it without having to have a little battle. External mic, you can run or not run this. You can do little tests. You can actually have the unit sitting there, have it plugged in, see how it sounds, unplug it, see how it sounds. I'm gonna run it just because I'm here now. You can sort of see they've already actually run something in this car up in here, but it's tucked in here. Basically we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stick it on here, and then we're going to tuck it in here, down here. You can see where this one's gone. We'll probably do it a bit tidier. We'll come down the side, and there's normally a piece of trim that comes off. No, that doesn't come off. We'll have to go down the side. You can actually pull the door seal off here. I'll come over here, sorry, so you can actually see. You can pull the door seal off, come through, and then you can just use a cable pusher to push it through there above the pedals and pop it out under here. So there's a couple things off the old fascia. One's a hazard switch here. I've pushed it out already, but it's pretty straightforward. You push in like these two, and it comes out the front. That needs to go into our fascia down the bottom here. So let me just clip that down for you. Now, what you'll find is majority of our models, it doesn't fit in, and the reason is, I'll show you, because you can actually see the button is the perfect size. Some it will, and if you do get it in, you can see the button jams. So it was an easy fix for this one, not super easy, and we try to going to improve this in the future maybe, but it's just a bit hard to do too big changes to the actual fascia. So in here there's a small little tab sticking out. So what actually we want to do is we were trying to basically chop this, get rid of this little tab. So what we're going to do is actually chop this little tab off. So what I've done to this is you can do it with a screwdriver, if you have like a screwdriver, a drill and a piece, or like a Dremel, if you have a Dremel. So you just need to give like mainly the like bottom edge, if you remove that little tab, and the two sides. I think it's the sides that actually cause the issue. Then you'll see like now when I go to put this in, it actually clicks in okay, and the button works like fine. I actually think, so what happens is on like some models, the hazard has a slight variation on it, so it puts a bit too much pressure on each side, and the button won't come in and out correctly. So that's why we have to just do that little change. We do apologise for that. It's a bit of a pain. Again, it's out of the fascia, it's the back. It's something you can't actually see. If you stuff it up, we can just replace that part, but you can't really just so I nip a bit off both sides. You could do it with drills, and you'll see that I'll put it upside down. But if it was up the right way, it'd be working fine. And then in the future, we might try and get these done at the fascia factory if we can, but it isn't for all the models, it's just for some. Then you got your factory fascia here, so there's a couple bits we want to take off here. We want to take these aircon vents off, and this trim up the top. So this trim up the top's got Phillips, that'll pop out, and then the aircon vent is just tabs either side, and that'll actually pop up, out. I'll cover that now. Obviously Phillips here, into there, 1, 2, 3, like so, they all come off. And then that little trim bit just comes off like so to keep those screws. You will be needing those. In the AC vents, these are pretty much all cars are the same. They always have these little clips on the inside, and you just want to put a bit of pressure on them. If it's a bit tight on one side, you can always start with the other. There you go. That was really easy. I just actually flexed that, and that came off like so. And if you come in here, you can sort of push from the start, and then you can, if you get a little Phillips head in here, you can see just trying to lever off this. You should be okay with so that's actually basically going to be easier to just actually break this out with your hand. So flex like this side a bit, it'll flex off, and then if you actually come into the other side, inside here, you can flex it, and you'll see it'll just pop off like so. So that'll pop out there. So I'm trying to show you as I do it, and pop out. You can actually just flex it because there isn't anything holding this tight. So if you do that both ways, that'll be all good. Into this fascia here, obviously make sure you have the right side so they will curve. Am I right there? Because the longer will be deeper. Yep, and the fitting of these should be just like the factory ones, so it'll just flex in. You would have heard that go click click. It's basically what you want to hear. You've got the 3 on the outside that have to clip in, and then that 1 on the inside. Just try to get it all kind of lined up, and then they'll clip in like so. And you'll see when you're checking it out that they're in happy days, hazards in, all good. Trim piece on the top, don't forget that. I'll show you, but I don't know, blow your brain putting that trim bit on. That trim bit just fits in exactly how the old one came in, and then screw it down. And make sure when you're playing around with the head unit like this, that you have something soft underneath it. Our bench here is soft, but you can just use the foam from the box or a towel, but you don't want to be putting it down on something that might scratch it or whatnot. So put those 3 Phillips screws back in, and that's everything transferred over, and we'll tighten it all up, those like so, and you can have a nosy. That's basically it all put in. Now we can go and actually put the unit in. Now we're just going to put our Wi-Fi antenna on. So this little one here is the Wi-Fi one. You can pull these red dots off them all, covers, because we don't need them. 1, 2, 3. They can all come off, and then Wi-Fi screws onto here. Do it up sort of tight, and then leave it sticking up so it's out of the way. Like so, out of the way there. We're going to go and put this other box here in the side here now, because we want this out of the way. And then the one other thing we're going to do is sort of test what one our USB retention cables are. Now, if you move this stuff out of the way, you'll be able to see there's heaps of room down here for this box. So we're going to tuck it down here. Then you can choose how you want to mount it when it's down here. But once it's tucked in, I am just going to be putting a zip tie around this so it holds in space down the bottom here, and that's going to be that. So it'll be holding that box in. So we should all be good now. We've tied our wires up, we'll put that in. This customer is getting the DAB as well, so we'll put the DAB into here, but that's fairly straightforward. You can just leave a USB hanging out somewhere where you can like get to it, so you can put the DAB in. So basically, we want to go through now, plug all our wires that we kind of tidied up back in, and then go from there. Just move this camera around so you can actually see what's going on. Like that, tuck it in there, that's the bottom. USB retention cable, I'll just confirm this, I just want to see which one it actually has to plug into, because I'm not 100% sure. We have included them in the kit because we're hoping we could get it to work, so I will confirm that. It's our video one, and we've got our main 20 pin power that needs to come up into here, and then we had our 2 antennas, then we had our SIM card, I'll do our SIM card one, which is this little one here, 6 pin. Again, they can fit into a couple, so you just got to make sure the one you put it into is actually the one where the side line matches up. Then I've got these hanging down here. So we had our external microphone coming down the bottom here. Plug that in, that goes into there. And we've got to have our 2 SMA for our GPS and our 4G. So GPS goes to GPS, make sure you don't get them the wrong way around, otherwise they won't work too good. Actually it'll still kind of work, but it's not really. Tighten those up, just need to be hand tight. And the other one's down this side. Might be a good idea to put this in before you put the FM AM one in, because otherwise it's a bit tight getting your hands in there. That's tight, that's plugged in. Now this is a good time to just go and check that you think you've got everything plugged in. I'm pretty sure we do. Then I'll sit it up, and again, always like to do lots of testing out before we put everything together, because I'm a fan of not having to pull things back out. So the only things I had to confirm here was I'm going to run one of those like USBs, so I like to sort of down in the kick panel. This customer actually wants it for a DAB, so that'll be that. And the other USB we should be retaining with one of these cables here. So I plugged this into one of the 4-pin ones. I'll confirm what color one it is. I just need to test that and test we have the right cable. If we don't, well then we don't have the other USB retention working yet, but we should get it working soon. So just do it all. Fan, cool, that's fine, that's fine. Those lights come on, that's good. Got some sound coming in, that's always good. And our steering wheel controls are still working. And you just want to check your reverse camera. And then after all of those checks are done, we can actually slot the unit back in. Alright, so that's all done. Don't forget your hazard one, which I actually taped back up before there. That has to come back out for your hazard. Check all of that works. Everything's all plugged in. You can have a look there what sort of plugs we've got. Power it up, check that everything works. In this case I've got a couple extra things because we put a DAB antenna in for the customer, so that DAB just sticks in the windscreen, runs down behind the glove box into one of our USBs. And we've also put our 2-in-1 switcher in because the potential in the future for caravan camera. So this just allows you, if the caravan hooks up, the caravan camera wins in terms of what gets a video when you go into reverse. So that is all hooked up, and we'll just leave that tucked up into there for the customer in the future. We can basically go and put it all back in now. So when you go put it back in, just get it lined up, have a look at how all your cables in the back are looking, because you want enough room for your deck to slide back in and all your cables to push in. Should be plenty of room on this model, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Get it all lined up about where you think it's right, and then you can see with your clips on the side if it actually is right or not. So there you go, and then you have a look at your clips on the side, they look about the right spot. Your other side, yeah, it's because this needs to be back in. That's right. The little, sorry, hope I didn't bump the camera too much then. This little bit down the bottom had to be clipped back in first, and then just come down, and you should find it all should stick in. Go around it, give it all a good few pushes. What you've got too is you've got to remember you've got a few screws that are going to go in here and here and here and here, so we're going to put those back in. That's basically it, looking pretty good. Great time to test it now, as per always. Lots of testing. Steering wheel controls, cool. CAN bus information coming through, awesome. Fine reverse, no signal, good. That'll be because of that 2-in-1 switch I put in, so I'll fix that right now. AC controls working. All right, neat. So again, also other radio and sound is a good one to check. It's my CarPlay hooking up. CarPlay wins. All right, cool. Sound coming through articulate radio and then we'll go through and I'll finish it off. So we're just going to go back and put this back together at how we took it apart. So you had your two things here on either side. So you go back in reverse, you put your two your fall-off Phillips back in. So just reversing the way you took it out. This can sometimes be a little bit tight because you got to sort of squeeze it in between the chair and whatnot. I don't know what you had going in here. Some little plug. So again, that little latch is that one that kind of needs to sit a bit higher, go up. So kind of go up and in. So I'm missing it there, that'll come down. And just make sure you're all lined up where it should be. That's the main thing with these plastic clips. You want to make sure the clips are lining up and we're all about right. Otherwise you'll bend the little clips and you've got to put it back in. That's it to get down the bottom there to get that to click in. So that's that side. We'll go over and do the other side now. The other side here, you might just need to slide your center console across a little bit. Same little trick, get that one lined up first. You might just need to, can help shifting the chair back a little bit. That's it, and then same as the other side, just slide it down. Just give yourself a bit of room here if you can. There we go. Right, and that sort of comes down and up to here, just like the other side. It'll clip up at the back there and come in like so. This one I actually just took off this like bottom piece when I went to stick it in, because I did notice when I went to put it in, it a bit thick. Bit of a rush. Alright, so don't forget to put your plug back in when you do your bit down here. Right, so when you flip this around, remember to put your plug in that you took out and up under there, like so, and then allow that to breeze down. This little bit with the cameras on needs to come up. So I just hate rushing things, but a bit of a rush this afternoon. So that comes down and make sure that lines up and it just clips back in how it was. Give it a good push down all the way around. That clips back in like so. All looking pretty good there. Couldn't get these working, so in the future we'll hopefully come up with an answer for that. You'll again obviously go on. Had that little circlip, so you can put that like circlip on and then slide it on. Gear knob on. That's basically it. That's the whole install done. I've got to put the glove box back on because I took that down to run the DAB, but you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to tuck this little extra cable we have down here for the caravan camera if they ever sort of like use it up and behind here, and we popped our one USB and like SIM card in behind here too, up under here. It's just an easy spot to like sort of pop them, and then they're out of the way as well. So there you have it all installed. All looks pretty good. Install's not too bad, it's a little bit of a process. Probably give yourself 3 hours if you undo it yourself. You should get it all in and happily done. Obviously got all your apps, etc., AC control, whatnot. You can obviously do the Play Store. We've put this the second camera option in for this customer. Those USBs, if you can see, I've just tucked it out here, and the SIM card's under here. Easy to get to if you need to, but yeah, handy days.